textbook example of a perfectly impossible episode. The stuff of podcast fiction. This should not exist in our real world, and yet here it is, the Holy Grail. Welcome to the Three Body Narrative. We are your podcast hosts, Pradyum and Naeem, and missing Aaron unfortunately this week. But we are here to discuss everything pop culture, movies, TV shows, and games. And for today's episode, we're going to be talking about Hey, Wake Up, Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. So, what is this movie all about? Well, Wake Up, Dead Man sees Benoit Blanc drawn into his most serious and unsettling investigation yet, involving a death surrounded by secrecy, moral questions, and hidden motives. But as Blanc peels back layers of lies and personal beliefs, the case slowly unravels a grim mystery steeped in secrets, faith, and murder. All right, so who's going to start off proceedings with the ratings for this movie?
It's gonna be me this time around.
It's
Cool.
gonna be you.
Yeah, I think I'll get the ratings out of the way first. This is a solid 4 out of 5 for me. I had a good time with this movie. I always, more often than not, like a whodunit. So, and in the past 3, including this one, the 3 that have been, I've
Two that have
enjoyed
been.
3, 3
Oh,
including this.
right, yes.
Yeah,
Of course.
3 including. So, I've liked all 3. The first one is still personally my favorite, because that was the first time I was introduced to this Benoit Blanc. So yeah, I think I had a good time with this movie. Kept me guessing. I had an inkling of who is involved in this, but I just, like, the motive was not very clear. Also, I think a couple of things were in terms of one additional person I thought was involved but wasn't. And I'll jump to that at a later point. But all in all, I love the fact that the series, in a way, is doing something new in terms of the tone of the series. This felt a lot more serious, as you mentioned during the synopsis as well. It obviously the earlier 2 parts I feel were a little more comic, had a little more comic relief in there, and I think the thing that is more relevant with this film and the one from the first is how closely knit the group of suspects are. Like in the first, it's obviously family members, but in this, it's like a set group of people who've known each other for a really long time, and it's something to do with um, something that is extremely personal, which is faith, right? And it's like high stakes from that aspect. There is a lot that could have ideally gone wrong, but I think for the most part, the film or the director knows what he wants to achieve with the film, which is Ryan Johnson, obviously. And I think
Of
one
Last
thing
Jedi
is
fame.
absolutely one thing is absolutely clear: as long as he stays away from your fictional super. I mean, this is fictional as well, but like your superhero fantasy world esque, I think he is going to be doing some solid work otherwise. So just stay away from all of that and just keep doing this, and we're all good, is what I'd say. So yeah, a really nice movie. I wish I had a few people around when I was watching this. It would have been really fun to have people guessing this while it was happening. And I think that's what I missed out on, because I had to. This came out like just on Friday, and we had to kind of rush it through. I didn't have time to kind of sit and plan when I can get people around and stuff like that. But yeah, I absolutely really like the movie, and I hope this is. I'm sure this is not the end, and we'll get to see a few more of the adventures of Benoit Blanc.
Yeah. Okay, so initially, honestly, before we recorded this podcast, when we were discussing what topics to discuss, I looked at your face and I was scared that you were not going to rate this very high because I really enjoyed this movie. I think for me, it's a 4 out of 5 as well. Now, it may be doing a disservice by comparing it to the previous iterations, and I loved each one for maybe what it brought and the differences that it had. For me, this I love, like, totally agree with you. I think I love the change in tone that they had. And if you were talking about what's different from the first two to this, it's that in the first two, I felt like the cast was comedic and cartoonish, and
Yeah,
Benoit Blanc was a little more serious. Here, Benoit Blanc's bringing the cartoony element to it, and everyone else is quite serious,
yeah,
which I totally love. You're right. I think it's a very dicey topic to be bringing, talking about the Catholic Church and all of that, and talking about faith, religion, belief, all of that. And I think he plays it up beautifully. For me, the standout was Josh O'Connor's father, Judd, right? Like, totally, totally great. I suppose the reason I'm probably downgrading this slightly is because I feel like in this, as compared to the others, Benoit Blanc is a little more of a side character than probably the main character. I think a lot of this focuses on Father Judd than it does on Benoit Blanc.
yeah,
And but whatever scene that Daniel Craig is for with in as Benoit Blanc, he nails it. I think this is a character he was born to play, and I'm glad that he played it. His look, by the way, this time is so good. I love the rugged, long haired look of Benoit Blanc, and it totally fits that. I think maybe a couple of casting choices, especially one maybe felt a bit off, and I'll just bring it out here. Mila Kunis, I think that was a bit.
yeah.
I mean,
Underplayed.
underplay. I don't think she added much to it, and I felt it could have maybe just been somebody else. But
Yeah,
overall, the ensemble cast was really well done. Nice to see some really familiar names, and it's a trademark thing with Knives Out, right? You have a lot of familiar names, old school names, and you have some of the like new up and coming actors, and we'll discuss that in a little while later. But yeah, overall, totally loved it. I like the darker tone they went for, and honestly, I'm sad that we have to wait years to get a Benoit Blanc mystery thing. I wish it was a series. I wish, like, I don't care. I think even if it gets stale, it's like watching Castle. I suppose, like it's fine. I think over a period of time, I just love watching it just because it's a who done it, right? No
yeah.
matter how easily predictable it was, which in this case I think it was. I think I kind of predicted it a little earlier than I would have liked to, but we'll get to that in a little while again. So I guess that's about it for our ratings.
Did you rate it though? What did you rate it
Yes,
at?
I said 4 out of 5 starting.
I was like, okay. Did you rate the movie at all? Cool. No worries.
Honestly, I did have that same question. I questioned myself like midway through. I was like, did I give it a rate? I was like, no, I have. So
Okay.
it's fine.
So we'll know
So
when we get to editing if
if
you
not,
rate.
now I've said it. Now I've said it. So it's a four out of
Just
five for
kind of
me.
cut it off and like probably bring it to the front. But yeah, I had like honestly like while watching this movie, all I could think of. Oh, by the way, um, I started watching this last night, and I was too tired, right? And I think at that point I felt like I don't think I can carry on with this movie. And I think it was a good decision to not watch it at that point. I just like literally switched off my TV and I slept. And then I was
Okay.
like, okay, I'm gonna wake up early and kind of watch this, right? So I think I woke up around like 6:30, and I started like watching. I just went, freshened up, came, put my phone on silent, kept it aside, and just like I was like, okay, for the next couple hours, I'm just gonna watch this movie. And yeah, I like considering it was early in the morning. Not once did I feel like I wanna like sleep, or like uh,
Go back
feel
to
tired
sleep. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
feel the pacing in any of this thing. I just really had a really good time with it, and all I could think of was like, damn, I wish this was like one the beginning of the weekend. Second, I wish I had more people around so we could kind
Yeah.
of discuss. And that's all that was like. this is such a good movie. Like, it's just a
Yeah,
lot of fun in terms of what's gonna happen next. And I think my most like there's this one sequence in the movie where I don't know if it's a forest or what it is, but it's got thick what do you say, grass and like overgrown this thing, and in the background, as Daniel Craig's character Benoit Blanc and the father Judd are like talking and walking through, you can see someone at the distance just with a lantern walking and I was like, interesting. Is what's happening there, kind of a thing, and that
yeah,
kind of comes full circle at a later point where that that scene is kind of importance,
yeah.
and like I really like that. I
So
love the whole
I
stuff
was
that.
like screaming at my screen, like, look behind, there's someone there, like, look
Uh,
behind, like, there's someone loitering over there. So I'm glad you also caught on to it. But you're right. I think I watched it on Friday night, and I was also in a similar situation where I was like, should I just like call it a night and leave? And it was at a pivotal point as well where luckily that thing happened to make me go like, hey, hello. And that's, I suppose, that entire sequence, what happens at that point. And I'm talking about the result of that, right? So I was like, oh wait, hang on, this has turned completely 180, right? Like, where's this movie going now? And so I watched it in one go. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm sad in a way that, we're talking about this entire thing of Netflix buying out Warner Brothers and everything probably going digital. This is a movie I would have loved to go to the theaters with
cinema
friends, with you guys. Yeah, and
yeah,
enjoyed it. I think it had
yeah,
everything. It had the tense background, the atmosphere, the
yeah.
comic relief, the who done it, all of it. It's just sad. As I was doing it, I was like, shit, man. I wish I was with you guys watching it in the theater.
Yeah, either that or like considering the line or the trajectory in where we are headed right now, feels like digital is going to be the future, which means a lot less theater out there, which means one of us either needs to uh, like really become successful in a short period of time, or we need to inherit millions from somewhere in order to have our own home theater, so that we are able to kind of I'm not talking about a home theater system. I'm talking about having a theater,
Yeah, yeah. I know.
so that
We
we can
need
like have
we
our
need
own
the
personal.
we need Eve's apple, don't we?
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, we gotta just have to figure it out which church to visit to find that. Uh,
Could be anywhere by a church, but sure.
I mean, Eve's apple is hidden there.
Technically, yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll find out where they shot that church scenes, and
Church,
we'll go
exactly. Yeah,
inside.
yeah, yeah.
We know
Yeah.
exactly where he's hidden it. The
Find
idiot didn't
the
cash in out.
coordinate. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But did you okay? Also, we need to kind of okay, guys. Everyone, we're moving into full spoiler territory now. So did you know that that's where the diamond's gonna be like kept? Because I did have a feeling that it's like it's always best to kind of keep it
In
in
plain
the
sight.
yeah, in plain sight. It just makes sense from that perspective, and also considering it's the Christ's this thing, right? It would be kind of very very what do you say, disrespectful to kind of try and search that, is
Yeah,
what I thought.
but when did you come to know about it? Because I only came when the moment they showed the cross, I knew it was there.
Okay, like towards, I think towards the end only, right? Like obviously not this thing, but I mean much before they start zooming into it
Yeah,
is, yeah. I think it's
but
in the frame when they're talking, and then you kind of like
But
it
imagine if you're a churchgoer, right, and you're sitting there in the pew and you're hearing, and
just
suddenly there's a glint of light just coming there, like,
yeah,
huh, what's that?
yeah,
But I don't think
yeah,
anyone knows what Eve's apple is, except for Martha and everyone. I think the people who knew what Eve's
yeah.
apple is are all dead.
I I would have liked one additional scene in there, in the sense that this son, the one who is the social media influencer or whatever he is,
Sigh.
right?
Yeah.
Sai, Sai. Uh, he kind of like he never finds the this thing in plain sight because he stops visiting the church after this, because to show that he never really believed in faith, kind of a thing. And as a result of that, the this thing that could have been his, because he just needed to attend one more this thing of father judge, and he would have caught on. If not, obviously no one else, he would have
Yeah.
known. uh it's the fact that he kind of, like, obviously I don't think the director wants to go that route. For sure, it's not about, I mean, while he wants to keep things grounded, I don't think he wants to push a certain.
Yeah, I don't think he's pushing faith or anything like that. But
Yeah,
you're right. Like, it's sad that if he had just come back to the church, he would have found what he
yeah,
was looking for, and then he doesn't. And that's that would have been so on point for a character like him. Like, right, like the most insufferable character in their ensemble, but played off brilliantly. Like, I love the character that way. Okay, but talking about the twist, let's talk about the twist. For one, see, I've watched tons of these whodunit movies. I'm always looking for clues and stuff like that. So I knew Martha definitely had something to do, because especially when I found out the moment in the flashback where she whispers to Grace something and she says, "Oh, it was something else." I was like, no, no, there's something that she said that's not that. And I was like,
mm,
she is involved, definitely involved. I think I knew that she was going to be the mastermind. What I didn't foresee were the other people in play.
mm,
And for a second, that entire thing of him being resurrected, Jefferson Wicks being resurrected, threw me off slightly. I was like, oh, like, was that planned? In the sense that, was he not really dead? Because everyone can inject you with, like, sort of uh,
yeah.
medicines that stop your heart for a bit and then
That
lets
was,
you.
I was hoping that was not the storyline, because that would have been obvious, because I feel like that's something that's been done before, right? And I think that's where my initial this thing with Martha's character came about. Who I Correct me if I'm wrong. That's the one from Dalmatians, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
Glenn
same.
Close, Cruella. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think from that, the idea is born that she's definitely involved. My line of thinking is, and I'm hoping this is not true, is the fact that he's framed this whole thing in order to kind of resurrect himself. And by he, I mean Father Wicks, Dix, whatever they call him. Uh,
Yeah.
they call him that, right? Like they,
Yeah, they
yeah,
spray painted those rocket ships on his too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. To that point, like it felt like that's the line of this thing that they were going, and from that, Martha would be involved. I then thought maybe she's got one step forward, and while he's doing that whole thing, killed him off as a for some, like, I couldn't understand what the motive would have been, but I knew for sure that she was involved. uh, I think also, I had one character wrong, poor guy. I felt like he was involved. Was the guy, he was into what, the gardening or something? I don't know. The guy who gets killed.
Samson.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, the
Um,
groundsman. Yeah.
yeah, I thought he was involved in it. I thought it was like a trio plan of sorts, where it's like the Wicks, Jefferson
Ah,
Wicks, Martha's character, and Samson. They're involved and planned this together for some reason. And to a certain point, I actually felt like maybe they want to make him seem like that supreme person who's returned from the dead and stuff like that, and that's the whole reason for like doing all of this and framing the guy while doing that, so that he's not a thorn in his way
yeah.
anymore. So from that perspective, I was thrown off, but I think Martha, I kind of had her this thing pegged in terms of this thing. And then once they revealed, what do you say, that the doctor was involved, I was even more of the opinion that, okay, maybe it's like, definitely it's the four of them now involved as opposed to like just the three of them. But then, like, the eventual reveal where the Benoit kind of has that Damascus moment, right?
Yeah.
Uh, then I was like clear, okay, like the father had something planned, Vix, but that kind of fell through when someone else got involved and stuff like that. And then obviously it unravels a few moments later, which
Yep.
is uh, which is very well done
Yeah.
in the sense that they have given you enough that you can, I think most people can kind of guess, but what keeps you hooked is one, obviously the motive, and second, the actual holistic picture of what's happened, kind of a thing, which I don't think most people would have seen.
That's true. I I did not see Jeremy Renner's the doctor being involved initially, and that was surprising. That when you find him in that acid tub and all of that, so you're like, oh shit, what's exactly happened, right?
I kind
Uh,
of, although I did initially did feel the moment he says Judd to Father Judd to not touch this thing.
oh, okay.
But there, my line of thinking was he's done it somehow,
Hmm.
and he kind of wants someone not to be meddling around too much for some reason, and that's why he wants him away from that scene. But I
Okay.
didn't think of uh, in the sense that, like, at this point. So initially, I thought once I figured or thought that this father is doing it himself, like this thing, then I thought maybe he didn't want him, Father Judd, to like take a look because he might have still been alive, which in
Yeah.
that case is absolutely true. But me more in line thinking of he was buried alive in the sense that he could come back
Uh,
alive later, kind of a thing. So from
okay.
that
Okay.
point,
So don't
anyone
like
the calls and
just
stuff.
you'll feel like he's still alive there, and you'll
Yeah,
call for an
yeah, yeah,
ambulance. All of that plan gets okay.
exactly.
All right. Yeah, no, so I didn't see that coming, which was pretty cool. And even the distraction that Martha does in order to look to drive people's
The
faces
moment
away
that
from
happened, I knew something was off. By the way, like it just seemed it's like okay, cool,
too
man. Like,
too
yeah,
much.
I wish they hadn't done it that way. Like it became a little too obvious. They wanted us to think it's Martha involved, kind of a thing. But I mean, I don't know if there would have been a better way.
So one thing that Knives Out, especially with Glass Onion, which is the second one, what they did was quite nice. Which is, if you recall in Glass Onion, Dave Bautista is the first one to die,
I
right? Because
don't
when
remember.
he so in that he so Edward Norton basically has his glass, his drink, and the reveal is that he gives his drink to Dave Bautista, which is spiked with pineapple juice and all of that, right? And initially, when you're watching it, you don't pay much attention to it, but if you actually watch it properly, you actually so the idea that when you're first watching it, you feel like, oh, someone is trying to kill Edward Norton, right? And it's his drink that was spiked, and that's why and Dave Bautista basically grabbed the wrong drink. But it is revealed that Edward Norton hands his glass to Dave Bautista, right? Now, if you watch it again and you watch it properly, you can clearly see that Edward Norton does give it. So it's clear, it's like you say, hidden in plain sight. It's there for everyone to see, right? Here as well, if Benoit Blanc says that devil head, the red devil head, was already attached to Jefferson Wicks's cloak,
Yeah,
and as he before he walks into the room, right? So I rewatched it again, and actually, when you see it and you watch him go back, they obviously have a back shot. You can actually
the-
see the head there, and I'm like, oh,
yeah, because you're
that's
not
so nice.
paying attention to that specific detail at that point. It's not become relevant yet.
Yeah,
So
and but also I think this is a lot more subtle than the giving the drink thing. But honestly, when I was like, oh, let me actually look if they did that again, and I looked at and you could see like there is a horn like structure there. I'm like,
yeah,
oh shit, that's so cool. But yeah, I love that. I honestly, some of these tiny moments is what makes like a these kind of movies so much fun to watch. And I think so that's kind of the plot twist. Of course, Samson is kind technically involved, but it's more out of love for Martha than it is from anything else. He's probably
yeah.
the
And he has no idea about what's going on.
in
Otherwise, he's
the
just doing
grander
what
scheme of
Martha's
things,
asked.
right?
Yeah, he's just doing what Martha's asked him to do. Poor guy dies. Dies because of that.
And that too
Uh,
a really bad sickle like cut there.
yeah, I don't know, kind of a thing, right? Like he's resurrected only to be killed off. immediately, kind of a thing. It's sad.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
And
but like,
I like the fact that they switch him off in the coffin itself before they take him. That was pretty cool because the the thing is everyone's behind outside the door, right? And that's when they do the switch, which is they take out Jefferson's body and put him into the coffin dressed like Jefferson Vic. And if you
yeah,
notice it, only the doctor comes into the door first and closes the casket before everyone else comes. So it's like,
is it? I didn't see that bit.
yeah,
I mean, I missed that bit, I think.
yeah. So that was so these tiny details, like, but again, when you're watching it the first time, none of this came into my mind. Like, I was like, okay, fine, something happened. Let's see how it goes. But the motive in and of itself, I think, like we're talking about this faith, belief, and all that, and Grace has obviously been painted in such a bad character by Vix Marta as this harlot whore, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
I'll
sad
beep.
because sorry,
I'll beep.
no, that's fine. I think that's okay. But it's like, for what? What does she actually do? Nothing. But she just wore like normal clothes in a way, right? Which they didn't consider to be traditional.
I think they said that she slept around or something.
No, I thought it was just maybe just the. I thought it was just the dress. I didn't think it was sleeping around. Was it?
I think they did mention it. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm wrong, but I mean, I watched a couple hours ago. I feel like they did mention that she did everything that was not kind of accepted, kind of thing, and one of that
Hmm.
was sleeping around, of which like one of those turned out to be uh
Wicks.
like the reason for Vix, kind of a thing. So
Yeah. Okay. Right. But I
that's
mean, then the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? Because Vix exactly does the same, and out of that is born Cyrus or Sai.
yeah, but I mean, again, like Vix is just putting a front in there to kind of continue running the church for the most part. I feel uh, he's not the ideal. How do you say this? Like
Oh,
he's not traditional. This one, right? Like who knows what the right this thing is? His teachings and the way he's driving everything around. It's because even like in general, if what how much of I how much of it I know, it's like even if your views don't align, like for someone from the church, if their views don't align with, they're never someone who kind of outright um, embarrasses you about it or kind of attacks you about it, kind of a thing, which is very clearly being done when the sermons or whatever it is that Vix is giving out, right? And that's
especially to
that
those newcomers, he just basically
exactly the way
outright
yeah, yeah, those
criticizes
are
them
not
until the point they leave.
exactly. And I think that's where it's very clear that he's extremely different, and I think he's got his own agenda to run this church, which is not necessarily driven by faith in itself, kind of a thing. So, uh, yeah, I think it was clear from the fact the way he spoke, also in general, that he was extremely different to say the least.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, he definitely took the appointment of Father Judd to the his church being a very personal attack on the fact that they didn't think that he could run his show, or they didn't agree with what he did, because Father Judd didn't do anything. He basically came in and straight away Monsignor Wicks was like hostile to him. And
Yeah, yeah,
I loved his confessions to him. He's like,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I liked Father Judd's confession later on as well, in the sense that he did go through the records, and it was clear that
yeah.
it was not possible anymore. So it's like insane from that perspective, kind of a thing. And yeah, like I mean, I I kind of had a weird inkling that Father Judd, not Father Judd, Father Wicks probably was involved in certain acts, kind of a thing, but
Hmm.
But I thought it was like current as opposed to being in the past.
Did you
Which
think with? Did you think that with? What's her
Martha?
character name?
No,
Not
I
Martha. With the one who,
oh yeah,
yeah,
the
wheelchair.
disabled,
Yeah.
yeah, disabled, yeah,
What's her
yeah. I
name?
had,
Yeah.
I can't remember, but the cellist,
Cellist. Yeah.
yeah,
Cellist.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I think, yeah. I mean, I know the actor's name. I just don't. Let me just see if I can find it. But yeah, Simone. Yeah, that's her name.
Simone.
So I definitely thought there was something there, or that's why she's probably giving money. Maybe it's a blackmail and stuff like that. Uh, but yeah, overall it was nice. Talking about, let's talk about the ensemble cast, right? Because there are quite a few well-known names. Anyone who you said you looked at and like, I've seen him somewhere before, not sure where he is.
Some are most obvious, like Martha Stewart is Martha
Martha.
Stewart. No, sorry, Martha, sorry, Martha is
I was like, where did she come from? Yeah.
Dalmatians.
Yeah.
Like I saw from that. Josh Brolin, obviously, you've got from Deadpool, Cable, or Thanos, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And Benoit Blanc is James Bond, of course.
Yeah.
But um, I think during the trailer also we spotted him, so we were quite happy about it. But James Moriarty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was there too. So I was like, I should keep an eye out on this one. Might be up to some of his old.
Tricks.
You never
Oh,
know.
he's such a weasel. He's such a weak man. I was like, how are you so bad as an author?
I I
And
I love the end to his thing, the way he's having that signing this thing, and the way he looks up and he's not very impressed with who's coming to take those signed like book sign, have the book signed. That was funny.
all
Um
white elderly people. Then you have Jeremy Renner, who, by the way, I mean,
yeah.
whatever's happened to him in terms of the accident and everything, glad that he's been able to come out of it. But put a few pounds there, and he looked a little rough for wear. But
No, but I
that's what an
think
accident does.
like a fit, yeah, but also it fit the character. I think it was
Yeah.
fine from that perspective, right? He's not here to play an action hero.
Also,
So
uh, throwback, right? Because Renner is there in the glass onion thing in his hot sauce. The hot sauce that they use as fake blood is Jeremy Renner's hot sauce
is
in
it? Okay.
in
I
the
don't
second one.
so long ago. So I don't quite remember that. I was very disappointed with Mila Kunis' character. I thought she would have a bigger role to play, but clearly it's just one of those things where she was a part of. She was there in the first one, right?
No, that
Why?
was
Why
Mila
do
Kunis.
I feel like Mila Kunis and um, Daniel Craig have done something together and they know each other
No,
from before or something like that? No?
at least not from this. I can't think. Definitely not from the first one. I
Okay.
just watched it, so definitely not. I'm not sure.
Like they're
I
like good
have
friends
they.
or something.
Uh,
I don't know. Anyway,
are,
I just
but
felt like she
yeah,
was like it would have been good if they gave her a very strong character to play with because I think Mila can definitely play the part. But just to have her for the role, it could have been played by anyone. It was so
honest.
minimal
Yeah, honestly, I think Mila would have fit better in the second Knives Out than she did in this.
in this. Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a little more humor in there for sure.
Humor, as
So
well as, I think, like, going back to her that 70s character is a little more poshy and this thing. So Glass
uh,
Onion definitely would fit that
yeah,
vibe.
yeah,
No, but I think that was great. Obviously, talking about Friends, it was nice to see Daniel Craig and Jeffrey Wright back at it again together. It's like it only was towards the end, right? But it was nice to see Bond and Felix team up once again at the end.
yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, like again, like for the part that he plays, was it really required for him to be Jeffrey? I don't, but it was nice, I guess. I
but
suppose
yeah,
it's the same.
Jeffrey Wright is just on a roll right now with all the kind of roles. He's just taking everything.
Yeah. Just
After Dispatch, this was a fun one to be in. I think he was a few fuck yous shy of his Dispatch character, but he had the same sort of mentality.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
Josh O'Connor's for me, I think Josh O'Connor, I don't not Connors, but Josh O'Connor for me was probably the standout.
And
I loved
correct me
him.
if I'm wrong, okay, just um, the first two parts were more in terms of everyone's perspectives, right? Like you get different perspectives a lot more in the first two movies because that's how I recall the movies. Here, I
Yeah.
felt the perspective for the most part was locked on to Father Judge, which I really enjoyed. And then you've got the bits and pieces towards the end where the reveal needs to happen that you kind of switch that perspective. I felt like the flow was a lot more better in this movie in
Yes.
comparison, at
So
least to the Glass Onion. The first one is I really love that movie, and so it has a special place in my heart. And I love everything about it from that perspective, I suppose.
So the first one has a lot more interrogation, so you see different people
Yeah,
and talking about different things. The second one has got different perspectives of how they view the main character and what has happened. Their ties with Edward Norton, I suppose, that's the perspective. Here it is more
yeah,
Father Judd. But yeah, you're right. I think the first one was a whodunit where I did not see that ending coming, and it was a really proper, nice twist in a whodunit way. The second
yeah.
one was a lot more comic relief, fun, entertaining, all of that. I think the third was nicely story driven, proper approach. It's more story driven. Not I think the whodunit aspect was a little more predictable, but overall, like the story that they were trying to tell, the tone that they were setting, I think that played a very good part. So I like the fact that's not gone stale already with three,
The
and then
motive, the fact that they managed to like make the motive the reason why you needed to keep going forward. Like I think for the most part, you have a lot of key players in play, and you kind of figure, okay, this person's probably involved, this person's probably involved. But what keeps you kind of hooked is like, okay, they're involved, but what is the motive? Like why?
like why, yeah,
Not who
but
done
yeah.
it. Like I done it. Like
Why did you do it? Yeah, exactly. Huh, that's true. It's a why done it rather than a who done it. That's a nice way of putting it. That's right. Okay. Yeah, so in terms of the ensemble, who else are we missing? I think so Josh O'Connor, have you seen his previous stuff as well?
no, but he's got a familiar face. By the way, I
So
just felt like the character was it was one of the characters that could have easily been derived from Marvel's Daredevil. It could have been Daredevil's father had he
yeah.
not died. Like he killed someone in the ring and then chose to
Oh
go
yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, shit,
But
I forgot
obviously,
about
even
that.
in that, he's got this thing, right? And like in that, obviously, I think uh, his wife then becomes
Yeah, his
uh,
the mother's a nun in that, right?
one initially, and then they have the child, and then she goes back into faith, right? Like she,
Something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think those lines kind of a thing,
So
In another, this
he
is an alternate Marvel universe.
in an alternate they have Marvel characters already, so why not, right?
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
so I think he came in The Crown, so he plays Prince Charles, the young Prince
I've
Charles.
not watched
Okay.
Crown yet.
And he comes in the new that recent movie Challengers with Zendaya and
Ah, that's where I know him from. Okay, right. Yeah, got it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's him there. Kaylee Spaney, I mean, and Sai I know from, there's this
Kate
Irish
Penny, tell me this. Is that the same girl that everyone was talking about? She should
Elle.
be playing. Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We discussed this, I think, even in the trailers, but yes, it is. Yeah.
Right.
Uh, so Sai comes in a show called Bad Sisters. It's an Irish show on Apple TV, which is really nice. But yeah, he's someone who's up and coming. Vera, who's the sister slash mother, is Kerry Washington. So she comes from, I think, Scandal, this US TV show called Scandal. I think that's the only place that I know her from. But yeah, I think overall it's nice to see. So the bartender from this movie is the same guy who came in the first Knives Out. He's like the side cop. to, the main cop is the Lakeith Stanfield guy, right? Like the guy who plays L in the live action Death Note.
I don't recall.
Okay. So he comes in, he's in all three movies, but in very like short roles. So he's like the sort of common commonality there. Apparently, with Joseph Gordon-Levitt comes as one of the baseball commentators. Like you only hear him, which is funny because in Glass Onion, he's the sound of the clock going bong bong. So that's all his role is. So it's I guess Ryan Johnson has his favorite few. Of course, Daniel Craig is there. Yeah. So overall, I think ensemble cast wise, these guys keep getting star characters to come in, star actors to come in, and it's always fun to see all of that.
Yeah.
But acting wise, yeah, I think I wish maybe we got a little more backstory on some of these characters, especially the
Yeah.
cellist, maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
I think there's not enough focus for the other characters, to be honest. But I think again, like that's also the reason why the pacing is so good in this movie, because it keeps it crisp, it keeps it focused, doesn't I know there are many interesting characters, but like if you kind of start peeling
yeah,
the this thing and
Glass
like
Onion.
clear, yeah, peeling the glass onion of all of those, it kind of like from 2.5 it could go easy to 3 hour 45 minutes or so, and that
Yeah,
would be like a lot of time to kind of, if done as a series, yeah, for sure you could kind of take your time and like peel back all the necessary suspects, get to know those characters, kind of a thing, sit with it, and then kind of go boom.
yeah.
But because it's a movie, no. And I mean, again, like,
Was it really required? No. So I
yeah, I
don't
don't think,
think it
yeah.
really mattered. But
Although,
again,
see,
yeah,
her, this one's character was the one that caught my eye the most. Simmons, like the cellist, because it kind of was very like sad in terms of like, being that successful person and stuff, and then suddenly having that kind of taken away, and the way he was kind of using her for
yeah.
her just knowing where it was coming from and all of that stuff. It was kind of sad.
And there is truth to whatever's being shown, right? There are people who do take advantage of this, of the faith, of people's faith in God and trying to kind of come out with cures. But I love that scene where they're in that study room and she gets up from the wheelchair to grab something, and Martha screams, saying it's a miracle. And she's like, Martha, I can walk. It just hurts. This is hilarious. Yeah, so I think overall, there is a lot of, I think, reality in steep in this story, right? And I like the fact that it doesn't give you one right answer, because Benoit Blanc is like the atheist in this, right? He's the guy who does not believe in God, clearly says God is fiction, all of that. But you have in Josh O'Connor's father Judd someone who does believe in God, believes in that you can repent, you can sort of uh, not wash away one sin, but pay for somebody's sins, and maybe God can help you become a better person and stuff like that, right? And it gives you sort of a place for salvation and refuge and all of that. Not refugee, but refuge. But so yeah, it could be a place for refugees as well. But no, just for people who are lost in the world and trying to look for some sort of solace or place to become themselves. But yeah, I think that kind of played out. I like that balance, and I guess that's about it. Do we have anything else that we want to discuss in this? I can't. I think otherwise. I mean, in terms of even the story, it was pretty nice to have it non-linear, because you start off with Benoit Blanc reading what you come to know as Father Judd's entire story. So it was quite
Yeah,
well done. I think the editing was quite well done. I like the effect when Father Judge slides down that mud and he's knocked out cold, and he's having this dream that he's seeing Jefferson Wicks, and the strobe lights that you see. And I think
yeah,
overall it was pretty fun
yeah,
editing. The other thing I really liked was when they're in the church, you could see like the sun rays come in and go out. So it's kind of like there's a beacon of hope, and then it suddenly becomes dark. Especially the
yeah.
first
Also, I
time.
mean,
So what's the first time that Daniel Craig and Josh O'Connor talk? Like when Benoit meets Father Judd the first time. So it's a lot more lighter there. And then as they talk, like it suddenly darkens, the mood darkens. And I like that. It just feels like they've taken almost a natural light there than having to maybe.
Mhm.
I felt
Artificial.
though I felt though that the last bit where he says the Damascus thing when the ray of light, I thought that was a little over the top, but it fits in well in terms of
Active
where this
kind
is
of
going.
it. Yeah. Yeah, I think also like I like the end where it's like the story of Pre- what was his name? Preceptus?
Prentice,
Prentice.
Prentice.
Yeah, Prentice. How that kind of comes into the focus, and like how he swallowed the this thing
Dude,
in like
I how
I
I
don't know.
would
But okay, like I really like that whole concept, and I mean, like just like you, I also knew that's not what she had told. Martha's character had told this one for sure. It was something
Grace
else, kind of made her aggressive. Um, and I did think the word whore would have been involved in whatever she said, and it did turn out to be true. So yeah. Uh, all in all, very good, solid performances. I love the grounded nature of this. More serious, uh, and in a lot of ways, I felt like the what was online, especially with Judd's father Judd's this thing, right? Innocence. It's more in terms of like in the previous two parts, I've never felt about having to prove someone innocent. In this, it felt a lot more about like the focus was not figuring out who it was, but how to unravel that this person is not the one who's at fault for this murder kind of thing. And I love that switch in focus.
because
In
even in the first one, Ana de Armas is being sort of like she is
game.
been
Oh,
called the killer and all of that, right? But I think that's more like confined to just the family. Here, it's become this because of that idiot Sai and his social network and his
yeah,
YouTube page, like his YouTube
yeah.
thumbnails. We need to do something like that, like
I don't
giving Monsignor Wicks like six pack abs and like godlike status. Like no, it. I think that's become a viral sensation. I think what do they call Wicks truthers? I think is what they
like that.
are
Yeah,
again. Yeah. But what I really liked was at the
he
end
fit
before.
into the boys' universe. By the way, like you could get him in there,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
could who's driving the what are they called? The Homelander.
Yeah. Oh, what
What?
is it? Yeah. Yeah,
Homelander. But
those Stormfront and all of those saviors, right? Like, yeah.
yeah,
But here, it I like the fact also the end. Just the last thought from my end is the just before Mata dies is that like Father Judd gets her to kind of repent for what she did to Grace. And I think that was so beautiful to see. Like she was quick to say, forgive me for Vix, forgive me for Nat, forgive me for even Samson. But like the resolve that she had to have in order to let go of that hatred for Grace. Um, and because that's someone who had probably embarrassed the person that she really looked up to, Prentice. So, that was, and God, of course. So that was a nice touch. But and like the fact when she drops the Adam sorry Eve's apple, both Benoit Blanc and Father Judd look at each other like, oh,
yeah. And
hello.
I love how Benoit Blanc's character just like does this and like walks out kind of a thing. Uh, yeah, that was fun, and I kind of expected that now the kid will try and chase after the this thing. We just have to see how that goes, kind of thing. It was interesting how they wrapped all of that up in the next couple of shots. Pretty
Yeah,
nicely done.
yeah, cool. All right, so I guess that's all the time we have for our review and discussion of Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. Yeah, he's having his Damascus moment. I was about to say, actually, when we were discussing, I was like, shit, you got the perfect ray of light there. Whereas I'm a lot more in the darkness here. But no, it was overall a fun watch. I hope that Ryan Johnson continues to do this. Of course, we really hope that the without compromising on the quality, we hope that the the times between each
Mm,
Knives Out isn't too long, so we
okay.
get to see a lot
Yeah.
more.
When was the last one that came out?
22, 23.
That's not bad.
It's not, but these are like fun movies. So I'm like 22,
No,
yeah.
yeah. I
So
mean, it would have been cool if it was like yearly series that were coming out. Pretty awesome.
yeah,
But again, then quality would have to be top notch to be able to keep, right? Like, I mean, just putting it out there for the sake of putting it out there, that doesn't make sense. So I would rather it be like another two more parts, but like really top notch upward trajectory or like upward growth in terms of what the storytelling they can have. But otherwise, yeah, I don't see the point in it being rushed.
I think a Who Done It is also very difficult to keep it very fresh and very new because a lot of them have happened. So many been there, done that kind of concept. So to kind of have something that's a good balance of a slight like a grounded story or a different story, as well as the who done it itself being a little difficult to predict slightly. It doesn't have to be too difficult and I think the more convoluted you get, the more it becomes, and you're like at least
Yeah.
have some proper reasoning for it. So I'm glad that yeah, i guess I guess 2 3 years makes sense. So we'll see, we'll probably catch you soon in 2028 if this podcast or if Knives Out still remains. uh, yeah, no, we'll definitely review it soon. So I guess that's about it. So we will catch you all on the next episode. But don't forget to leave a like, subscribe with friends and family. Let us know what you thought of this Knives Out edition or volume, or what would you call this?
A trilogy, third part.
No, yeah. So I think this, yeah, whatever you want to call it, this third part. So let us know what you thought about this. What whether met the bar that the previous one did, or whether it was surpassed it, whether it fell it fell below expectations, and we'll catch you all on our next episode. Until then, see you.